All right, making progress. All right, well, tonight's competition theme is water in all of its forms. So we have, interestingly, we have 18 submissions in each class. So that's I guess we've kind of divided the group in about the right proportions. So we'll start off with the basic group. And here we go. All right, it's working. Let me get my mouse out of the way. And first image is trees on foggy morning.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna go through them all first.
Or? Yeah, we'll go through them and then you can.
I was jumping.
Remember that mouse.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a normal meeting if I didn't do that. This one was ice. Let's see, what was it? 3 letters. Where'd you go? Ice, snow, and water. Splish, splash. Scripps, Pier, blue hour. Seattle, rain. Bubbles. Clouds and majesty. Emerging from the tube. Icicle stalactites. Can you believe it's Austin? Calm waters. Seeing double. Flower and water. Siesta Key. Water, as in melons. Falls. Winter in Yosemite. Siesta Key. Muddy waters. Okay. We'll go back and do that again with the judge's commentary now. Trees on a foggy morning.
I don't know. Is this one of mine? Yeah, I got to bring up the list again. Never mind. I don't think this is mine.
Okay. Ice, snow, and water. That would be Gary.
Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to try not to repeat what I wrote in the comments on this one. I like the graphical nature of this image. I think it's very interesting. I do like the limited color palette as well. I like the repetition of some of the color themes between the eave and the top of the trash can, vase, urn. I'm not really sure what that is. I'm not necessarily sure what I'm supposed to look at is my biggest concern with this one, in that what I focus on are those 2 white spots on the wall. And I don't think I'm supposed to be looking at that. I'm also confused by maybe the splashing on the wall above the urn. So I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be looking at. So I guess I am not understanding this image. It is a picture of icicles. Yep, definitely got icicles. We got melting. We got some snow. And like that, but I'm not really getting it. So it's not for me, since I'm not understanding the intent. I'm not seeing it as successful. As far as theme goes, I think it's great that it's on theme, because the focus, I believe, is supposed to be the water here. So definitely kudos for that. But I'm not sure I'm understanding it.
All right. Next is Splish Splash. Scripps Pier, Blue Hour.
That'd be me.
Okie dokie.
I really love this image. Blue Hour, you can see the blue. I kind of like the color. You got some of the magentas up there. You got a little orange and the light out there on the pier. Really love the long exposure, maybe a neutral density filter, maybe not. The composition is good. The horizon's level. Just a few things that I may have done a little differently is the weather instrumentation halfway down the pier. I probably would have cloned that out because I don't think that's adding anything to it. And the same with that sign. Doesn't really add anything to the story. Now, if the sign said something, had some skulls and crossbones and actung or something like that, then, and you could read it, it would add to it, but can't really read it. And if I remember correctly, I think there might have been a blurred bird that just shows black up in the sky. I would have got rid of that, but overall, great image.
Okay. Seattle Rain. Bubbles. Clouds and Majesty.
That'll be me again. I do this often when I'm up in the mountains, especially on some of these days where the clouds are down low, kind of like how you kind of get an inverse vignette with the white and the mountain. The image, maybe it might have been better black and white, a little bit more contrast, add some drama to the clouds, a little dehaze to the clouds. Or something I like doing, especially with the highlights and stuff, is I like adding color. So if you wanted to leave it this way, I'd probably say go black and white. If not, play with some color grading, add some color to the highlights, kind of make it look like it's sunrise, sunset, maybe some orange, some magenta, that sort of thing. But yeah, the mountain's sharp. So good image.
Okay. Next is coming. Emerging from the tube. That's Gary.
That one's mine. Okay, so I'll start by saying that there's a lot about this image I like. It's not strongly on theme for me. For me, the subject here is the surfer and the surfboard, great capture, and the action. The water is a secondary or supporting element in the image, despite the fact that there's a lot of it. So I don't see this as necessarily being strongly on theme. Therefore, I rated it accordingly. That said, I do want to point out, though, that I think this is a great capture of the surfer. I love that he's very sharply in focus. I think that this choice of the technical elements for shutter speed are very appropriate. I like the freezing of the action, as well as you've got the wave on the right. If I had a choice, I'd have him looking a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more tension, under a little bit more tension, but that's a nit because I think it's a great moment. I would like to see him off to one side. In this particular image, I think all the action is in the center and on the right side, and the left isn't adding anything. I'd like to see more on the left. One, to give me more of the tube feel, because you see the crest of the wave up in the upper left corner, but there's not much going down the lower left. So by backing up or getting a little bit more on that side, I think we'd have more of that sense of that tube. Plus, you'd place him a little bit more to the right. He'd be moving more towards the center of the frame, a little bit more off balance, a little bit more dynamic composition that I think would be overall beneficial. That said, I'll finish off by saying I think the highlights were handled beautifully here. I'm not detecting really any blowouts, so good job on the exposure. And I'd like to know where you were standing, because I don't get it. It's yeah, cool. I haven't done surfing, but I admire people who do. That's fun.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Icicle stalactites.
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Okay.
So one of the first things I noticed about this, side note, include your metadata. It really makes it a little bit, it just gives us as judges a little bit more information to go off. And what I loved about this, it was shot on an iPhone. And so I think there's a stigma of like, oh, it's a photo club, I have to shoot it on a real camera. You know what a real camera is? Anything that takes pictures. I don't care what you shoot with. Go out and shoot, have fun. So I'm celebrating the fact that this was shot on an iPhone and a mobile device. I also really like the black and white. This is definitely a moment in time when we got a whole lot of frozen water in Austin. I was stuck in a hotel with no food, shooting for a corporate client, and I have fond memories of that. And so this kind of brought me back to those days. I think there's some strong graphical elements going here, right? We have these, converging lines, running down to a single point, and then we have the horizontal beams of the pergola, all contrasted with these dripping frozen drops of water. So I think this is one of those photos where the idea was right. And this is something that we see quite a bit in basic class. And this is kind of, to me, what separates basic class from intermediate and intermediate from advanced is how well do you communicate with your device what your brain sees. And what your brain saw here was absolutely correct to go and photograph. And so it's just a minor manipulations of our devices and technique so that we can more effectively communicate that out to the world. And so for me, moving 8 inches to the right to where the camera is centered on those two beams so that we have more symmetry, and then maybe tilt it up just a little bit or crop, because everything in the lower 10% of that photo doesn't help, right? So that lower beam, the little top of the fence, I don't know, there's some other stuff, and keep it abstract, right? So just have just the lines, just the diagonals, just the horizontals, and just the drops. And I think it would yield a very graphic photo, and it would elevate it from just, a snapshot to something that had a lot of thought and that you worked it, right? I think if you look at my photos, I actually edit backwards a lot. So I look at my film strip in Lightroom, and I start on the far right and work left, because the last photo I took of any set is usually the best one, because I work the scene until I'm happy and then I go to the next scene. And so usually in any set of photos of mine, the last one or second to last one is the one I like. And so I think working the scene a little bit, taking multiple, take it, move, shoot, stick and move a little bit, and really work through a scene to really dial in what you want to see, right? And what you want to tell to the viewer. I feel like this is a rough draft. And so with a little bit of refinement, right, we can get a second draft and a third draft and take multiple shots and try out different, zones and move a little bit, change your angle just a little bit, just work it just a little bit, and see what comes out as the most powerful image. But I do want to applaud that it was the camera you had with you to take this. And I like the kind of diagonals and all the lines working. I think that's really cool. It just needs a little cleanup, but otherwise pretty cool.
Josh, I want to ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
You talked about cropping in on this and making it more abstract. Mm-hmm. I read a lot of critiques, and sometimes one of the negative critiques of abstract type images is that the viewer doesn't know where to focus. Good. And yeah, how do you balance those two things?
I think those judges are wrong most of the time, personally. I think that a photo that challenges the viewer, I think a photo that makes you stare and figure it out is the point. If you think about how many photos you see in a day, I don't know, 10,000 photos in a day, moving pictures, TV, billboards, ads, right? We see a ton of imagery, but how many of them actually make you stop and think? How many of them actually make you go, wait, what's going on here? And so I think if you can make an abstract photo, and you're going to see some coming up on my next critique here, and literally the next photo that I'm talking about, where it's kind of there, you kind of know what it is, but you kind of don't. So I guess for me, when I say make it more abstract in this one, right, there's a little bit of a fence, and that little bit of detail pulls my eye away from the stalactite. So for me, it's get rid of anything that distracts from what you're trying to say. I think a lot of the best, let's say, portrait photographers, landscapes, probably it's the same way. The photos that they take, almost, they look like they were easy to make, right? You look at an Ansel Adams, you're like, well, of course it looks that way. That's the view. Well, the reason it looks easy is because he got rid of everything else, right? You look at a great portrait, it's just expression, eyes, hands, and there's nothing else associated with it. And so to the viewer, the maker is basically saying, I want you to see this and this only. I don't want you to see anything else. This is exactly what I want you to see. I've gotten rid of everything else distracting. You hear it come up a lot in photos, right? Stephen just said, hey, there's a distracting element. I'd clone that out. I'd get rid of that. And why do we say that? We say that because it's just little bits that aren't the big story. And by getting rid of them, we're telling the big story better, because we're removing any chance that the viewer has of misinterpreting what we're supposed to look at.
Okay, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great question. Thank you.
Calm waters. Seeing double. Flower and water.
This is another one of mine. Oh, look, see, we had it planned. So this is abstract, right? Let me get on and say this photo is phenomenal. Like, this shouldn't be in basic anymore. Like, this would compete at any photo competition at any level. I don't care where you're at. It's going to do well. Okay. So whoever took this, I'm guessing they also took bubbles. Good job. This is great. Great work. Keep it up. Keep doing it. You're not going to be in basic in January. Welcome to the challenge. I don't know who took it. No, but this one's great, right? So okay, we got out of the way. This is a good photo. Let's talk about what makes it good. So I think if we squint our eyes, that's how I'll try this, right? We squint, and what we see is a strong diagonal from the top right to the lower left. And that diagonal bifurcates the photo so that we have blue on one side, and on that diagonal, then we have red on the opposite with a little bit of yellow in the corner. So it's almost a Fibonacci crop diagonal with blue, with red, with yellow. Primary colors, they're awesome. The other super cool part about this, and what I love about it, is each of the bubbles in focus gives you a different perspective of the flower. So each bubble, because it's a lens, gives you a different viewpoint to the flower. So even though there's one flower in the photo, there's actually, like, I lost count at like 750, right? And each one of those has its own viewpoint to the flower. How freaking cool is that? Like, that's amazing. Good stuff. And those, there's some sharp, and like, it looks like squids are coming at you. I don't know. You can go a whole lot of ways, but what works is we don't see all of the flower in the background, right? And we never really get it all in one area, but by looking at the totality, we can figure out what it is. But also that diagonal line, if that strong diagonal, if it wasn't there, it wouldn't be as good as an image. But then also we have these bright primary colors, right? It's very like Liechtenstein, right? Bright blue, red, and yellow. And so, it's got a little pointillism going on. It's great. I think this is a great example, right? We're seeing exactly what the photographer wanted us to see, and we don't see anything else. There's not a car in the background. There's not a distracting something in the background, right? It's just exactly what they wanted you to see, nothing more, nothing less. And what we do see is very fun to look at. And it challenges the viewer to look at all the different bubbles so that we can get all those different viewpoints of the flower.
Okay, thanks. It's a lot of information to process.
Sorry.
No, it was very good though. Siesta Key. Water as in melons. Falls.
This is my third one for this class. Kind of going on the theme of what am I looking at, right? What the question is, what am I trying to tell the viewer? I think this happens to us a lot as photographers. We can tell there's something there. We have this cool building. I think it's is it a church? I don't know. It's a cool building. We have waterfalls. We have green. It's cool, right? There's rushing water. There's falls. There's going directions. And we have this impulse of like, I can tell something's there. Yeah. And you get frustrated, right? And so I know that I've been in this place, not this place, but I've been in that headspace where it was, I know there's something really cool here and I can't figure out how to make it work. And this kind of feels to me like it's in the middle, right? Am I looking at the falls? Am I looking at the building? Right? It's a tough time of day. It's like 5 o'clock-ish, right? The sun's not really coming in a different angle. We don't really have much in the way of clouds. There's like people here. There's a little bit of cars there. So like, if you're the person who made this image, ask yourself, which part of this am I really trying to focus on? I think it was shot at f11, if I remember. So that's plenty of depth of field. Everything's in focus. Doesn't need to be. Would this be interesting shot at 1.4 and focus on just the water or just the building and made some stuff out of focus? Slower shutter speed, really slow down those waterfalls. Faster shutter speed, freeze them, right? So I think there's some different ways you could go, but it just kind of feels like a snapshot, not a full-fledged photo in the sense of like capital P photo, right? Where we are like, I made this, I took time, and it was that. It just feels in the middle of not. There's some uncertainty there of what the photographer wanted the viewer to see and to appreciate. Yeah.
Okay. I got a creative text message telling me my cursor was in the way.
I think we're just going to call you Mark the Mouse Lasad from now on. That's going to be your like boxing name.
Yeah. Okay, this one is Yosemite.
Winter in Yosemite.
Okay, Winter in Yosemite. There we go.
And that'll be mine.
Okay.
All right. So this photographer here playing around with some slow shutter speed, trying to get that water, that nice silky blurred look. Do that. Use an ND filter, really slow your shutter speed down. Whenever I do things like this, I'm usually at 20, 30 seconds. So I really do like this photo. You kind of got, you got the S curve going. You got the trees back there in the background that kind of come together, form, triangle back there. So, and you got the river kind of goes up through there. So, they were really trying to make the photo. It was probably cloudy, so you're not getting that light where you got a lot of highlights, shadows, and all that. So what I would kind of do differently on this is one, and this is kind of a theme for me, you'll probably hear it in a few other ones. With water like this, I'm down in the water. I'm down low. Somebody is stuck in my head. Why is the photo always at eye height? You sit your tripod up and it's like you're standing behind the camera. Get down low, slam it down to the ground, get in the water. I got waders, so I like getting in the water anyway, even if I do get in trouble by the Rangers. So that's what I would kind of do differently. I would probably also do some dodging, burning, add a little bit more definition to it. But the snow isn't totally blown out, so pretty good there. And maybe crop in a little, because crop down a little just above where those two trees intersect there, because I don't think the top really adds much to the story. The story is the water flowing through. So that's what I would do here. And personally, I like adding color. I'd probably change that water from green to blue to make it feel a little cooler. So yeah, but great image.
Okay, thanks. And I think that brings us to the end of the first group. So.
Oh, I don't think so.
No. Oh, I know why, because Gary made me move my cursor, so that screen wasn't active anymore. It's his fault.
I am not in charge of your cursor.
Okay, let me go back. Blame somebody. All right, 2 more to go.
There we
Siesta
go.
Key.
All right. So yeah, this one's mine.
Okay. It is?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay, I must have forgotten to.
Yep. Siesta Key 8834, because there's 2 of them.
Okay. Oh, all right. Go for it.
All right. Move that cursor. Thank you. Thank you. Stop it. Okay. All right. So there's a lot about this that I like. I'm going to start by saying that as far as theme goes, not strongly on theme. Again, I perceive the water as being in a supportive role. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's not the subject. And I generally interpret the theme as the subject or strongly related to the subject in the image. So this one, not strongly on theme. That said, I like this image. There's a lot about this image that I do like. I appreciate the silhouette. I don't see silhouettes, so I always like to when other people do that. I think it's great that they've got the eye for that. So I appreciate that. I think silhouette. I love the motion of the people. I love the the action is implied. I think that's a very good thing. The horizon is not level. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I think it would be a simple fix. It should be fixed. From a composition perspective, I would like to see more on the right and less on the left. I don't like having my people like this in the center. I just don't generally think that's a good thing. It's too balanced for me. And they're walking. There shouldn't be balance. I think the most unfortunate part of this is the clouds in the sky. There's so much there that is just indeterminate, and it's unfortunate because I'm a big fan of clouds. Maybe some clarity and dehaze work on the sky would have helped bring those clouds out. I'm not sure if I were trying to capture an image like this, I probably would have try to get up higher and maybe not have the horizon bisect her head. But I also maybe would have gotten down lower and had the horizon come in more mid torso on her because it's less prominent that way. And we get more of a sense of the people because again, I think that's the subject here. But I think the highlights are handled well. I think the shadows are handled well. I'd probably darken the shadows on the bodies just to make them more silhouetted and provide that stronger contrast. But nice sharp image, a nice clear definition of the people. I think is very cool. So like I said, there's a lot about this that I like. I think it's in many respects successful, and I think I think the maker is on the right track and should continue doing this kind of thing because I think they have an eye for it.
Good. Thank you. And last but not least, Muddy Waters. Okay, so now we've come to the end of
Mark?
Yeah.
This is Arlie. I know I submitted 2 photos, but I only saw one of them in the slideshow. Do we know what might have happened to my second one?
Gremlins.
Yeah.
No. I don't. What was the title of it?
Running Eagle Falls?
No. All right. I'm gonna have to make that up to you somehow. I don't see it. We had someone else who had had a couple images that didn't get captured. Turns out they were in the wrong class. I don't think that's what happened to yours. So
I know that I submitted it and then I took it away and submitted it again. I don't know if that should have made a difference, but
let me look into that.
Okay.
But
I appreciate it.
yeah, okay. And I'm very sorry about that. That's
sorry,
a
Arlo.
rarity. Okay. So we'll go to what the judges decided on. We have 18 images, so we have 5 places. Honorable mention is Bubbles by Delaney Van.
Is Delaney on?
I was going to move a little bit quick because we're kind of getting behind the schedule. Susan Park, 3rd place for Trees on Foggy Morning. I think we actually have a tie for 3rd place here.
Nice.
Scripps Pier Blue Hour, Louis Abulafia. Second place is Flower and Water by William Ling. And first place is Winter in Yosemite, Louis Abulafia. I don't think Louis is here tonight, is he?
He's away in White Sands at the moment.
Okay.
Slacker.
All right, then we will go to the People's Choice.
Okay.
And 3 places. People's Choice Bronze goes to Louis Abulafia for Winter in Yosemite. The silver goes to William Ling for Flower and Water. And the gold goes to Louis Abulafia again for Scripps Pier. So the judges and the people were pretty strong agreement.
Hey,
all right.
We have Williams here, right? William, you're on.
Bill?
Yes, hi.
Oh, do you
You
go by
talk
Bill?
about your flowers and water?
Yeah, that was my flower and water.
What inspired you?
Can you tell us something about it?
Well,
Process?
in the throes of COVID, didn't have a whole lot of places to go. So I did this in a kind of a studio environment. It's really a simple thing. I'm surprised it came out as well as it did. It's a piece of blue construction paper laid on a table, a couple of blocks on both sides of it, a piece of glass on top of it, an artificial flower from the dollar store shoved between the glass and the blue construction paper, and a spray bottle of water, and that's what happened. And I like the picture too, so we've got to put it in there. I see a lot of eyeballs down in
Yeah.
those bloody eyeballs with the muscles and so on.
I think your bubble pattern just turned out spectacular.
Yeah. The blue really popped too. It was just a piece of blue construction paper, and it just vignetted to really dark blue. And then where it got more light, it's, baby blue.
That's great.
Thanks very much for Josh, especially for your kind words. I'm humbled.
Well deserved.
Yeah, well done. You're not going to be in basic next year. Sorry.
Okay. Shall we move on to the intermediate class? Let's do that. Oops. I better change this. Okay. All right, intermediate class, another 18 images. Headed for the roost. Puddle. Artistic bathing. The power of water. Slippery slope. Skogafoss horse antics. Hranfosser. How's my Icelandic?
And I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I don't even speak English well.
English waterfall. Bridge over untroubled water. Thank you, Richard Trevithick. Empty-handed.
Wow.
Inky floater. Finding Nemo in the Blanco River. The Mist. Frozen Vine. See you downstream. Squawking at dawn. Sunset storm cloud. Okay. Let's do it again. This time with feeling.
More mice.
Yeah, more nice. All right. Okay, first one is Headed for the Roost, and that's Stephen.
Yep, that's me. Love this image. Everybody knows I like shooting birds with a camera. I'm gonna probably assume this is probably in Bosque. Those are probably some sandhill cranes. Like the silhouette, you get some separation between the mountain there and the birds. So they're not blending in with the mountain there. Sunset. So I think I like this image. Maybe a little bit more detail in the mountains, kind of always exposed for your highlights. Yeah, what I would have maybe done differently. I love using Photoshop. I can spend hours and hours on a photo. I would have made the sun add some sunburst. You kind of got some in there. I could see up in the clouds. Or another thing on this image would be maybe to just crop in to just the water and leave the top out, because the theme is water in all its forms. So we're trying to focus on just the water, or crop it in where you just get the silhouette shadows of the sandhill cranes in there. So, yep.
Puddle.
That would be me. So this is a cool image. I'll start with theme though. It is, again, for me, the water is not the primary subject here. It's a supporting player. And so that's how I treated it. I love the black and white. The black and white processing is fantastic. I like the detail in the shadows. One thing that occurred to me the last time I looked at this was the reflection or echo of the shape in the top of the trash can and the cover of the picnic table. I think that that's an interesting curve there. It's the only curves in the man-made things, of course. Reflection's lovely. I like where the horizon is in this image, even though it's flat in the center. I think it works, and I'm happy with it. I'd say the one thing I don't know that I care for is the space on the right. There's a lot of empty space over there without much going on, and so I don't know that this is a panorama type shot. I think it's more of a 2x3, and I'd crop off about the right 25%, maybe 30%, something like that. Just kind of take that away, because I really want to land over here with my eyes and look at this picnic table, and then the dunes and the clouds and the reflection, and then back to the picnic table. I'm spending all my time over here, not over there. But for this shot of place, the sense of place in White Sands, I think it's very successful in that respect. So I would say bravo on that. I think good job.
Okay. Artistic bathing. The power of water. Slippery slope.
Do we? Oh, that, yeah, there. Okay. That's mine.
Skagafoss.
Is that?
Yeah.
I was going through my photos, and this may be my wife's favorite photo ever in club. Rainbows and ponies, right? Like, it's almost not fair. Like, good choice on subject matter.
Just need a unicorn.
Yeah. Add a horn to it.
How do you want to make a photo successful? We're going to put some rainbows in it. And what else? Some horses? Done. It's good choice on subject matter. We have snow, we have mist, all those good things. I want to point out, I think this is a square crop or very close to it. And one of the things that stood out to me is that that the cropping allows the weight of the horse to be generally equal to the weight of the rainbow. Right, the horse is smaller and more denser and a lot of texture, and then the rainbow is bigger but less texture. So to me, they have about the same weight. And so I think the cropping really accentuates that. There may be some other things you were trying to get rid of. So I think that's an interesting part to it. I like that light coming across, right? The horse's face and chest, right? It's got that really nice dramatic. It's dark, but on the shadow side, but it's not all the way there. So there's still good texture all the way through the horse. It's a horse prancing in front of a rainbow. Like, what else do you want, people? Come on. No, it's really neat. I would say it feels like it's cropped in a little bit. And then there's right under the mouth. I don't know what that is. There's a little smudge or something. I can't tell, like right under the nostrils. I don't know if that's a dust spot, or I can't figure out what that is. That's the only thing that kind of distracts me a little bit in this photo, but good action, right? We have prancing pony in front of a rainbow. It's really well done. If you get a chance and you need to get your photos better, go stand in front of more interesting things. And in this case, pretty damn interesting. So good work.
Good. Ron Fosser.
Yep. I think this is another one from Iceland.
Yeah.
So again, I really like this photo. Overcast skies, Iceland probably go hand in hand. Everything in those upper latitudes always seem to be, whenever I go to Alaska, it's like this. If the sun comes out, we're having a party. You got the waterfalls there. You got the blue, glacial, river there. Love that. Now I like the colors. You got the fall colors, the yellow in there, the yellow, oranges. What I would have maybe done a little differently, again, this is a theme of mine, or what I like doing. Whenever you see landscapes like this, they're always shot down low. Me, if you could, don't know if you can or not, because I've never been there. Someday I'll go there, and this would probably be a cool shot. But instead of clouds or whatever, I'd like the northern lights back there. Get down in that water, get low, slow shutter speed. Perfect in this. You kind of got that silky, smooth water going, flowing, so you can tell it's flowing. In this, maybe you could have cropped it a little bit more because the sky doesn't really do much for the photo. Yeah, it's water in one of its forms. Maybe zoom in a little bit more where you just got the waterfalls in it. Maybe some of the, the yellow trees or whatever, just zoom in a little bit further. The right-hand side, I'm going to assume this was probably taken from an overlook because I could kind of see in the lower right corner a piece of wood that might be a fence where you can't go past it or whatever. But that whole right area there doesn't really do much for the photo. So maybe cropping up, getting rid of that, or cloning it out if you can, if you're good at it. But yeah, well, someday I'll go to Iceland. It's on my bucket list after the Yukon.
I want to put that in my backyard.
Okay.
Okay. Occasional waterfall. Bridge over untroubled water.
Is one of mine.
Okay.
So this one gives me a little bit of vertigo. Actually, I have a lot of vertigo, so this just gives me a little bit, so not too bad. But it almost feels like a portal, right? I know it's a puddle, but it feels like you're going through a cave into like another dimension. And I think that's cool. I like puddles and splashing through them. The other thing I think, and I said this the last time as well, but I think the cropping here really suits our subject. This is a non-standard crop, right? Probably like 4x1 or 3x1 or something. And so, but it fits our subject. The other thing, I don't know if you noticed this, but it's flipped. If you look at the lower left, you can see the grass growing down. We're not on the upside down. This isn't Stranger Things. So I think it's just a neat idea, right? Of, finding this image and putting it kind of in a portal cave looking thing. But I think also we have this big oval going around, and then the power lines form kind of this long, slow triangle. So we have a triangle inset by an oval. And so if you, again, squint your eyes and just look at the shapes, I think the form there is good. I will say technically that the shadow recovery is a little bit high, especially around the corners and at the top. That the shadow's getting, the recovery is just, it's getting pretty noisy. Do what you got to do to get the photo, but it feels a little bit much there. This might have been better as like 2 exposures. I think this was 1 exposure and then try to be boosted. You could take 2 and then paint in one or the other, layer mask, Photoshop, layer mask, or you could try to do an extended range HDR, just so you have a little bit more detail in those shadows. So when you bring them up, it's not overloading the channels where it gets into that noisy signal to noise loss there. I'm not in love with the plant underneath the bridge. I don't know how you would fix it. I think, fixing it, you lose the triangle. The other thing is maybe try this again at a different time of day where it's not like a solid blue. If it was kind of like a spookier, kind of more Portal-esque, more Stranger Things, very creepy kind of sky, that could definitely work as well. But I appreciate the effort in flipping our perspective and kind of turning this into the upside down. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Richard Trevithick. Empty-handed. Gary.
This is a wonderful capture of an egret not fishing. There's no other way to put it. So I love it. Pardon? No, we're good.
Fishing. It is fishing.
I love the composition where the bird is placed in the frame. This is probably a 3x4, probably a 3x4-ish. Maybe 2x3, I can't tell. But I love the composition. Love the blue and orange, the blue of the water, the orange of the background. I love the pose. I don't think I've seen a heron doing this while fishing. I'm gonna have to pay more attention now when I watch them. But I love that. I love the capture of the water and movement. Again, I think that the water is a secondary player here. It is not necessarily the subject. It is a supporting role. And so it's not necessarily on theme for me, but as an action shot of a heron doing something interesting with lots more I could go into, and I won't detail everything, but this warrants a lot of exploration. I think it's a very successful shot of an egret, and I like it very, very much for what it is.
Cool. Inky floater.
Yeah, it's one of mine. Not one of mine. I wish I took this photo. So again, I just want to point out that here in Photo Club and North Austin Photographic Society, we get some really cool images. And this is a really cool image. I would like to know how this is made. If the person that made it after would tell me, I'm really curious. There's a lot going on here. You know, there's some lighting, I feel like. We have this really inky black, see what I did there? Background. And then just the structure is just a squid or octopus, whatever this thing is. See, if this was climbing out of the last photo, right? The portal, that'd be cool right now. But I love that there's like this time in the water, and we can see like where the ink went and where it came from and where it's going. And it's cool. Like if you don't see this photo and be like, wow, that's amazing. Like you could see this in like a biology textbook of like, this is what the ink looks like. Like I could definitely see this as like a publishable image. Like it's that level. My only critique on this is that at that little dip in the octopus, the whites, I think they're blown out. Because the light's coming in that direction and it caught it in a way. So I don't know if there's a way to bring those back, but just right there at the center top, those whites are just a little blown out and they're a little bit distracting to the rest of that ink as it's going through. The other thing, again, I'd like to stress that the cropping here is really good. There's no wasted space above the photo, right? And so we're mostly submerged with this ink, which is that little bit on top. Right, you could definitely see this as like having too much space above, and it wouldn't be as impactful as this photo is. So good job on the cropping. Good job on just kind of making that there and just seeing how that ink interacts with, I'm guessing, water. And so it's just cool. Like we see the time and all these, you know, if you look at just the lower half, it's abstract. You don't know what it is. And then we see that octopus arm. I think it's an octopi. I don't know. This is cool. I love the blues and greens, and it's great. Yeah, just the hot spots are the only really critique I have of like what to like touch up just a touch. But this is gonna be a really cool print on like a metallic luster. That'd look awesome.
Okay. Finding Nemo. The Mist. Here, you're a bird man.
Yeah, I chose the birds to talk about today. I don't know whether the maker changed the title of this to suit the competition this month, but whatever they did a good job. They made a good choice, a wise choice, in my opinion. I think from the title, The Mist, it tells us exactly what we're supposed to be looking at here. I think it sets the mood for this image. I think that I feel that the image does a tremendous job of giving us a sense of place, putting us in the scene, and creates the mood that I think the maker wants to impart. I find the horizontal structure of the image between the water at the bottom, the reeds in the middle, and the trees / sky at the top, notably thirds, as we can all see. works very well here. I think it's nicely partitioned. And I believe that the egret is on, I think it's another egret, I believe, or heron. No, it's an egret, is almost on a third, almost a third of the way in. So our placement is pretty classical, if you will, but nonetheless, it works extremely well. I really like the color palette here with the oranges and the greens, reflected as well in the water and in the trees. I think that having the bird be the only thing that's really in focus, aside from a couple of ripples in the water, is spot on. A very good choice. And even the reflection of the bird being blurred is, I think, very good. So we didn't try to do anything to sharpen that. I like that the bird's in motion. He's wandering around fishing. He's surf fishing and doing his thing. In short, there's not much here. I don't see as very successful. This was my number one choice in this group. I'll be honest and say I find this phenomenally successful. It makes me want to be there. Tells me a great story, and I think it's fabulous.
Right. Frozen Vine. See you downstream. Stephen?
Yep, that's me. All right. Again, going with the theme here. We got a waterfall going on here. Few things on this image. I think a slower shutter speed should have been used. This more is like freezing the action. Most waterfalls that you see, they always have a longer shutter speed. Again, getting that silky. I probably wouldn't have shot it from this direction. I probably would have went more to the right, or myself, I'd probably be out in the water there somewhere, shooting it head on. Couple of distracting things. On the upper right, you got a lot of branches up there. Got a branch sticking out of one of the rocks down below. But yeah, just keep going out and shooting and playing around, and we'll get there.
Okay. Squawking at dawn. And sunset storm cloud. Okay, so that is the intermediate class. And let's see what the judges had to say. So once again, we'll have 5 places. Honorable mention, Empty-Handed by Cheryl Callan. Honorable mention, Slippery Slope, Gene Thomas.
My kid wanted to know what kind of animal that was.
It's a frog.
Well, I know what specific type.
Gene, what kind of frog is that?
I looked it up and I forgot it, but it's not a chirping frog, but it is a Central Texas frog.
Okay.
And he's only like about 1.5 inches or so long. He's not a very big frog.
Did you come upon this scene?
Pardon me?
Did you just come upon this, or was it kind of set up?
Yeah, it was. Well, I found him at the pool hopping around. I'm like, okay, I'm done with my swim. I grab him.
But he was not harmed.
Unharmed, yes, and let him go.
Cool. What a great idea. Okay. Inky Floater. Third place, Gene Thomas. Outstanding. We all have questions about this. So what was the scene here? I mean, is this just the way it looks, or did you have to do any special lighting or?
Yeah, well, there's two flashes. I knew I wanted to backlight it because as the ink flows through the water, it does all sorts of strange things, and you just don't ever know what you're going to get until you start experimenting and, like what everyone was saying, working the scene. And then I had a flash on top. So I got a backlight and I got one on top. I think my backlight had a blue gel to it. So that sort of helped everything. And then for the highlights in some of that ink that's in the water, you know, a little bit of dodging there to highlight it. And then just sort of a gradient to let it fall to a, I don't know, sort of a spooky, eerie kind of base at the bottom.
Where did you get the octopus, or is it real?
Well, it's real.
It's from the butcher shop?
I went to Whole Foods and they seem to have some squid there. And I'm like,
most of the squid.
I can work with this. And it just started getting crazier and crazier. And I'm like, okay, this is the best I can do. The squid's got to go out in the trash now. I've worked with it enough. It was like all inky and everything. And I'm like, okay, this is it. Cut here.
Well, then what's the ink?
That is acrylic ink. If you just use eyedroppers and use this special kind of acrylic ink, when it first gets dropped through the water, it makes all those really cool patterns. But then as you wait, then it dissipates and everything's just one, you know, stormy cloud, and it doesn't look good. So you have to get it right away, or, you know, you empty the tank, fill it up again, you know, try again till you get something cool. Sort of a thing.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Great idea.
Did you dream it up? Did you dream it up specifically for our assignment? If you did, wow.
Yeah, sometimes I just sort of get these visions, and then like what Josh is saying, they sort of come by in a flash, and then you have to sketch them. So I have these little note papers laying around with these really weird black Sharpie images that look really very disorganized, but they are sketches that remind me of the flash of inspiration that I got.
Excellent.
That's exactly what I do.
Thanks for sharing your ideas with us.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Okay, second place, Puddle, Nick Grossman.
Nice.
Nick, you're here tonight?
He was.
He is. He's muted.
Nick, you want to say anything?
Sorry, I'm desperately trying to unmute it. Yeah, this was early in the morning in White Sands, and it thankfully rained a bit just before we got there. The most difficult thing about this was just getting all the other junk and all the other rubbish bins out of the picture, so it didn't look like trash cans. Yeah, thank you. I'm quite happy with this.
Okay.
That's cool.
And the gold medal goes to Cheryl Catlin, The Mist. Can't remember.
Am I the only one that sees this and feels this like half a degree off the horizon?
No. I feel it's kind of off a little bit.
It's like the right side, just like a touch to the right. I mean, just like half a degree.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Not enough for me to.
I walk into people's houses and adjust their photo frames because they're not like perfectly aligned, and it bothers me.
Was Cheryl here?
It's online.
Cheryl.
Yeah, I'm here.
Where is this at?
It was in Florida.
Cool. Anything you want to say about this photo?
No, there was so much mist in the air that you could barely see the bird. I'm surprised it came out that good.
Well,
it was very foggy.
what I like about both your shots is that you're down at the bird level,
Yeah.
and really increases the impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to lay in the water. You just got to watch for the alligators.
No problem.
We had spotters.
Things never said on one of my shoots.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks.
And now we'll look at the People's Choice. And bronze goes to Dave Margulis.
Yeah.
For Skogafoss Horse Antic. The silver goes to Roberto White, Headed for the Roost. And the gold medal goes to Gene Thomas for the Inky Dinky Floater. Excellent.
Yep. Well done.
All right. let's see here. This 3 cheetahs. The critique says, okay, so then when the category, okay, so they're talking about, in my opinion, I had to look long and hard to see how this met the category. In my opinion, when the category is water in all of its forms, I would want to see that the water was a major, if not most important part of the image. Yes, I do see the raindrops, but they are subtle enough that the image doesn't fit this category. In another category, it would have scored much higher. Okay.
I can attest the droplets were quite natural in this.
Saving.
At the end, it says where a focus sharp object, such as a leaf, is placed to draw the viewer's eye to that point. The last paragraph says, in my opinion, and this is very subjective, a case could be made to crop a bit off the top, making the stream the total hero of the image. On the other hand, there is an argument to leave it as is. It's a personal choice. A very subtle vignette on the top and sides could produce the same thing. Okay, I think we're at the end. All right. Now we'll go to the judges' picks. Once again, we have 18 images.
Do we have 18 in every category?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning, it's perfect symmetry.
Yeah.
5 images. I think there's a tie in here for 3rd place, so we may just have one honorable mention. And that's somebody say something.
Oh, sorry, those are my kids yelling. Sorry.
Slap those kids. Dennis Bosserman, honorable mention for The Ghost in the Machine. Very, very well seen. Third place, Dave McGuire, Early Light on the Snow. The other 3rd place is for Frozen. And it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Second place, The Pizza Toss, Haitham Samarchi. Really beautiful image. And first place, Fall Waterfalls. Again, Hatham Samarchi. I did not see Hatham here tonight. If you're here, Hatham, speak up.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a couple of meetings.
He is in the process of moving and
Ooh.
super busy.
Yeah, that's
I
no
think
fun.
he's doing, no, not moving. I think they're either redoing their old house or their new house, but self-contracting, you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah, that's brutal. Brutal.
Okay,
cool.
And then last but not least, we have the People's Choice. And the bronze goes to Frozen. The silver goes to Dennis Bosserman for Water Drops Spiderweb Abstract, which I think is so cool because of the weird shapes that you get here. I really like that. That's unique.
Halloweenish.
Somebody say something? Halloweenish?
Kind of right. Reminds me of Halloween, like pumpkin and bats and
Oh yeah.
Spookiness.
Witches flying in the air. And the gold medal goes to The Pizza Toss by Hatham Samarchi. And we'll close the competition on that note. There are a lot of great images in all three classes. Congratulations to everybody who participated because there just aren't enough prizes for all the good images.
The prize is the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
I have a question about in the intermediate class, there was another egret, and it wasn't a winner, but I was just wondering if the person that shot that was here, because it wasn't a great egret, it wasn't a snowy egret, it wasn't a great blue egret.
I think it was mine.
Where did you shoot that?
It is a reddish egret, but it is a white morph reddish egret. Are you talking about the one where he missed the fish?
Well, I'm talking about the one where the end of the beak was a different color than the beginning of the beak.
Yes, it's a white morph, and he's actually in breeding colors. That's why his beak is pink and kind of a bluish tint.
Sort of attracted to the opposite sex.
Yes, but that is a white morph of a reddish egret, and they do that thing with their wings, how they make like a canopy. That's how they actually hunt. A shadow.
Touch the glare of the sky so they can see in the water, right?
Yeah, they're making a shadow so the fish will come in and then they grab them.
Cool.
It's very fun to watch.
Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
I love learning things. That was great.
Sorry, I get kind of passionate about it.
No, I was not being, that was on a statement. That was great. That's fascinating to me. I don't know anything about birds. Cool.
All right, folks. That's all I got.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll just quickly say that we had new members. I want to welcome them. Louis Urbina, Chris Johnson, and Stephen Thomas. So we had those 3 new members this past month, and we're glad they're joining the club. If you get a renewal notice, it's because it's been 12 months, and Ed is checking those. And if you could follow the links and repeat your membership in PayPal, that would be great. We really appreciate it.
I have one more thing.
Actually, I don't do anything. The website does it automatically.
Okay.
Don't tell them your secrets, man.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you, for December, we're going to have one meeting, and it's going to be a potluck. And we'll announce all the winners for the year and all that good stuff. So location TBD, I'm working on a couple. But yeah.
Yeah, well, for the popular choice, you've got a judge for
don't have a judge yet.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay. But we have all the winners and honorable mentions, and then they go through and pick the 1 or 2 or 3, I'm not sure, of our photograph of the year. And then the photographer of the year is based on points, and Ed probably will already be doing that tonight. So don't tell us, surprise.
But yeah, anyway, potluck plan for that. Yes, we will actually meet people in person. That's the plan. And on that note, we're finding out from the church, hopefully today or tomorrow, what their plan is. If not, for January, February, I am looking for places. If anybody has any suggestions for backup locations, if the church isn't ready by then, I would, send me an email, josh@zulux.com. If you have any suggestions for venues. I'm working on a couple, but I could always use a couple more. It would need to, I don't know, 30 to 50 people. Yeah.
One last thing, Ed, we are going to be putting together the ballot, and I know that we only have one person for each position, but we have an added request that you look at that, and we have a survey with we're needing your suggestions, we're needing your input and feedback. So that goes out real soon, and then you have until the 21st, or no, the 18th, sorry, 18th to return it, and we can tabulate it and announce some of the things maybe on the 18th.
Vote for Pedro. But yeah, if we could get y'all's input, there's some questions about what y'all value most in the club, just so we know where to put our effort and our energy to the things that y'all value the most, but we don't know what y'all value. So fill that out, because it would be very helpful to leadership to know what you most like about club. Yeah.
Suggestions for themes.
What's that, Dave?
So I've got a question about renewing the membership. Do we have to wait for that notice, or can we just go ahead and pay?
You can pay anytime you want. The website will automatically add 12 months to your membership whenever you pay.
Oh, cool.
We had someone last year pay twice within a month, and he got additional 2 years.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, learned something else new today. It's great. It is great. Cool. Awesome. Anybody have any big Thanksgiving photo trips coming up over that week? Anybody got anything? No?
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out for photos, but I'm going to the Grand Canyon and Antelope Canyon and Zion and Las Vegas. So I'll be with a group of people. So we'll see how it all turns out for photography.
Cool.
Awesome. That's gonna be fun. I'm going here over Thanksgiving, right behind me.
All right.
It won't be Milky Way season, but it's just where we go and drink with my dad. It'll be fun. But I'm looking at super out. So does anybody use the Sigma Sport 150 to 600?
I use a contemporary one.
Got the contemporary too.
Everybody use the contemporary? Okay.
Yeah, the sport's a little bit heavier, but it's a little bit more weather sealed.
Okay. They're about the same price to rent. So I was just curious if anybody used them. Otherwise, y'all like them pretty well?
Yes, they're great.
Does anybody use it with a teleconverter?
No.
No.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
It won't stand it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a 5.3, I think, when it's zoomed all the way back. So, I mean, a teleconverter will drop the light down too much more.
Okay.
Josh, I use my 120 to 300 Sigma Sport.
Yeah, I'm not carrying that. I'm going to be hiking in the desert. You know where I'm going. I'm not hiking with that thing.
The contemporary is a little bit lighter. That's why I got it, because the quality is that much different.
Okay.
I like this about 100 to 400. Oh, it's a lot later.
Yeah, I have a 100 to 400, but I just need a little more reach to get some of the animals that are out there. So,
Josh, did you tell people about Chris Odom and Precision Camera? Okay.
Yes.
Done.
Yes. Yep. And yeah, tell your friends, let them know. We probably should put something in the Facebook group or something. So cool. All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful evening. Thanks for bearing with us and listening to me and Gary and Stephen talk a whole lot.
Thank you, judges. Another great job.
Whee! Awesome. All right. We'll see y'all out there. We'll see you in December.
I'm late, but I got to see a Z9.
Oh, is it real?
It's real. And it's scary quick. It's not as expensive as Sony.
Nothing's as expensive as Sony.
I know.
Did you pre-order one and get the free card?
Yes.
Good for you. I'm not giving them my money yet.
And I got a Precision gift card in the drawing.
Oh,
Yay!
Yay! Winning ticket. Cool.
It's just chumming for Robert.
Yeah, you know, you're just gonna spend it back in 10 times that. It's all
just
good.
Bait.
It is bait. That's right. That's right. All right, guys. I gotta put kids to bed. We'll see y'all.
Take care.
Okay.
Night, y'all.
Thank you, Ed.
Ed, thank you, sir.